When I start thinking about some of the things that I've done, it just kills me. I just cringe. And I know that there's nothing I can do. I cannot make amends because I don't know where he is. I don't know where she is. I don't know where these people are anymore. I can't make amends. And I pray, Lord, please do something good for them, Please do something. It's more personal than I'm sharing with you. I tell God some things I wish he would do for them because I can't. I can't make amends. I'll give you another example with my grandfather, Papa. I always call him Papa. I can't make amends. And gosh, I would just love to make amends because he's dead. He's not here. I remember when I was a little kid. You never remember when you're a little kid, you're just innocent? You remember those days before we just ruined it? Or somebody else ruined it for us, maybe? But we're just little, and we're so innocent. And Papa taught me how to fish, how to put a worm on a hook, taught me how to tie a hook. I can tie a hook on a line real good because Papa taught me that. And I'd open up his tackle box while he was at work. He was down at the plant. He worked in furniture plant. In fact, he was the head guy of the whole plant. And they turned wood, made bedposts and furniture. And while he was at work, I would go out into the laundry room there at my mom and Papa's and get his tackle box. And you could open that thing up. It had 3 trays that way and 3 trays that way. That thing was that big in my eyes when I was a kid. And I'd organize that tackle box all day. And I'd rearrange it. And Papa would come home from work, and I'd have that tackle box. It probably made him mad, but I don't know. But I had it all in order. And then, I lost my innocence. You just go a way that you didn't really intend to go. Nobody intends to go that way. You just end up. It's all my fault. I don't want anybody to think that you can blame somebody. No, it's your fault. I'm an alcoholic and a recovering alcoholic. I have 23 years sobriety. Amen. It'll be 24 March the 2nd. But that same boat that Papa took me fishing in, I remember borrowing that when I was older. And gosh, we partied at the lake. We just raised the roof. And we'd run that boat right up on the beach. Yee-haw! Just crazy. And it wore a hole in the bottom of the boat. I can remember taking it back to the plant because he parked it at the plant. And there's a puddle of water coming out of that boat. It has a double hull in it. And that center part was full of water. And I was just high all the time. I didn't... just try to stay away. And Papa gave me a job so I could stack lumber for him. And he said, son, you just clock in whenever you want and clock out. You just do your own thing. And so I would clock in. I'm ashamed to tell you. And I would go out into the yard and climb up on top of the stacks of lumber and sleep. And then I'd climb back down. I'd go over there and clock out. And I'd love to say, Papa, I'm so sorry. But I can't. Sometimes you cannot make amends. But here's something you can do, is you can try to be nice to people. You can try to make amends by being a good person to other people. Jesus said, inasmuch as you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. So if I help Brian, I'm sort of helping Papa, if you know what I mean. And then sometimes, you are confronted with the fact that you need to make forgiveness. You need to forgive people, but you're so upset, you're not going to forgive them. Kay Arthur, how many of you know Kay Arthur? Kay Arthur, I don't know her. I've heard of her and read some of her writings, and I read where Kay Arthur had written at one of her meetings or where she was speaking. When she got done, this lady came a beeline right down the center, and she was saying, I'll never forgive him, I'll never forgive him, I'll never forgive him. And Kay stopped her and said, "What's wrong?" And she said, "I'll never forgive my daddy." And Kay said, What did your daddy do?" And she said, "He raped me, and then he made me get an abortion, and then he got me pregnant again, and I had that baby, but it was born deformed and it died." And Kay said, "I hate what your father did." And that lady's head jerked up and looked at Kay. Kay said, "I looked into her brown eyes," and she said, "What?" And Kay said, "I hate what your daddy did to you. That makes me so mad." And she said that lady started to cry and said, "Well, nobody had ever talked to her like that before." And Kay told her, "That isn't right, what he did to you, and God doesn't like it either." So, sometimes, and that lady, through a period of time, was able to forgive her daddy for what he did. Because unforgiveness will eat away at you. It'll just destroy you. And we have to forgive. And that's why, I guess, the Celebrate Recovery curriculum, we're working for 2 months. We're going to work on this forgiveness and making amends. The Celebrate Recovery rewords the step for those suffering from child molestation or sexual abuse or adultery. And we have it on screen. Make a list of all persons who have harmed us and became willing to seek God's help. That's a step right there. If you can just be willing. You can say, "Okay, God, I'm willing to seek your help in forgiving our perpetrators as well as forgiving ourselves. Realize we've also harmed others and become willing to make amends to them." That's tough. Let's look at the second part of Principle 6. Make amends for harm I've done to others, except when to do so would harm them or others. We have the scripture verse, and let's read this together. "Therefore, if you're offering your gift at the altar, and there remember that your brother or sister has something against you, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them. Then come and offer your gift." Matthew 5, that's good, 23 and 24. And that's, Jesus said that. That's something Jesus said. If you're offering your gift at the altar, and he's saying it's more important to be reconciled to your brother or sister than to be in here worshiping, trying to worship. And that's true. So it may be happening to you right now. You may be thinking, "Gosh, I need to be reconciled to this person." And that has happened to me in more than one occasion. And because of time, I will tell you quickly, though. I went to this man's house, and I really thought, I shouldn't have to do this, God, because I didn't think I had done anything wrong. And I told you that Ben Hayden, I heard him preach a sermon. He said, "Well, was it 100% that person's fault? Was maybe 10% your fault? Maybe 5% your fault?" And so in our humanity, we have to say, yes, it probably was a little bit my fault. So I went to his house, and he and his wife, we sat at the kitchen table, and I apologized to both of them. They started sort of haranguing me, and I just continued to say, "I'm sorry for what I have done. Please forgive me," because I had made up my mind that I wasn't going to argue or do anything else, just going to apologize and leave. But I was trying to make amends. If you're offering your gift at the altar, your brother or sister has something against you, try to go and be reconciled. Tonight's acrostic, believe it or not. Okay, where are the drums? I should go back there and play the drums, but they'd probably get mad. Tonight's acrostic. Amends. Admit the hurt and the harm. A is for admit the hurt and the harm. M is for make a list. E is for encourage one another. N is not for them. D is do it. Do it at the right time. S is for start living the promises of recovery. Now here's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to do those first three because we're short on time, and then we're going to have to continue this at a later date. Number one, admit the hurt and the harm. I got an email once. I'll just tell you how I do things so you sort of understand. I organize things in notebooks and I have a way. In fact, I have a book. It's called Illustrations Unlimited, and I took the contents out of that book, and that became the contents of my notebook. And so when I find something that I like, it has to fit in one of those categories, and I throw it in there. So I have tons of these things. So I was looking for forgiveness, and I came across this email. It's from another church a long time ago. Parker, I suppose some might say I'm good with words. The truth is, I'm good with words on paper, not so much face to face. For some time now, I've been struggling in my relationship with Christ. I'm sure you've noticed, as it has been punctuated by frequent absences from church, she means. I offer excuses, blame it on travel, work, or illness. But the truth of the matter is, I simply have not wanted to go. I have felt empty and distant from God, which I know is my own doing, not His. I've been praying about it for some time. God nudged me a little and began to show me some of the things I've wedged between Him and me. One of those things is you. And gosh, when I read that, my heart just sank. One of those things is you, or rather my feelings toward you. I realized I'm still harboring bitter resentment regarding the reformat of the early worship service, though it's been a year or more since that occurred. I tried to understand and believe God was shaping the service to be what He wanted it to be, but I still hurt. I felt something precious had been taken away from me. I licked my wounds until they were raw, and I blamed you. I need to forgive you for the pain I felt, even though it was truly my fault, not your own. And she goes on. This is a lengthy email. And I love this woman. I'll just tell you that. She's a heck of a woman. And I had hurt her. I didn't mean to. But she admitted the hurt to me and the harm. And I'd beat the crap out of you if you did something to her. That's how I feel. I mean, I sound stupid talking like that, but I don't know how to talk sometimes. I'm trying to say that when you admit the hurt and the harm, you know, if you come to me and say, Parker, you scoundrel, do you realize what you did to me? Because a lot of times we don't know. And we harbor things. So A is for admit the hurt and the harm. M is for make a list. And that's where that paper that we handed out earlier, if you'll take that in your hand at this time, make a list. On one side, up at the top, it says amends list. Can we put that slide up, please? On one side of your paper, it should just say that what's on the screen there where it says amends list. On one side, now I want you to take this paper home. You can fold this up and put it in your pocket or put it in your purse, your jacket, wherever. But on one side, we write down, I owe amends to these people. And it may be that you think, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. But you write their name down anyway. You write it down. And you may have to get another sheet of paper. I would. And then on the other side, I need to forgive. And again, you may not want to write somebody's name down there. You say, I'm not going to do that. I'm just not going to do it. Write their name down. It's not going to hurt you to write their name down. On the other side, and we have this on screen too, this will really help. It will really help you. If I had time, I could tell you, because I had to start making amends. I remember being in those AA groups. No, it just washed over me at times, and it may wash over you at times. You feel like a cat on the beach, and I mean, it's just killing you. It's just washing over you. And this guy turned to me when I was griping about all this stuff, and he said, "Benson, most people don't give a rat's behind what you've done." And boy, that meant a lot to me, and so I want you to hear that too. Maybe that's not good language, but he said most people don't give a rat's behind what you've done. And I want you to know that too. You start getting all like, "Oh gosh, I've just destroyed the world." No, you haven't. Most people don't give a rat's behind what you've done. But you write down in the first column, who is the object of my resentment or fear? Write their name down. And then the column 2 is, what specific action did that person take that hurt me? What exactly did they do? I'll have to speed up. In column 5, they're about halfway down. It says, who are the people I have hurt? And you write that down. And again, you may need more than this paper. You may need more paper. And we're going to work through this in the weeks ahead. But this is how we are beginning. We're beginning by making a list. I've got my papers all out of shape here. We're going to admit the hurt and the harm. And you do that at best if you get off by yourself. I shouldn't insult your intelligence. You know that. And you admit, you're always in contact with God, so you're talking with Him. You admit the hurt and the harm. And then you start making your list. Because you're going to get well. Come hell or high water, you're going to get well. Right? Right. Because you're tired of the way it's been.